Oh, hell no! Come on, Chinese, what the hell is that?
I just ran honey, I dash. You spent too much cash. Screw your bags. I knew that you wouldn't last.
This gala festival is the equivalent of the Super Bowl in China.
对于我们以后做节目的时候也会有所
Yeah,
改
they
进。
should
如果是
improve
在
their,
国外
their
的话，
content.
很多外国人，哎，他把自己白人，他把自己的涂成黄色，然后弄个小
Put it in
眼睛，然后去
perspective, man.
逗乐大家。你如果看到这个东西，你会开心吗？
也没什么不开心
也没，
就是中国人就是这个样子，黄皮肤有什么吧？
要看他用在什么场合。如果有一些场合他是
Yo,
就是
people
故
aren't
意有
being
这种
honest,
影视的
man.
话，
People are
你
not
可
being
能可能
honest.
会生气。但是如果是出于一些就是引别人一笑的这种场合，我觉得还可以，是可以接受。
Yeah, you would.
对吧？
我认为他做的有失偏颇，
但是如果他们觉得，哎，我们只是为了
She
娱乐
looks like a straight Tibetan.
所以
Like,
说春晚还是再多多考虑一下。
没有，不会。
she just, that last girl just looked like she
基
cared.
本上能看出来，他们这个是故意搞丑你，还是纯粹是搞娱乐性，为了那个。好像如果这是像这春晚这么个隆重、这么个慎重的地方，也不可能要去丑化他们。我觉得没这个必要，好像。
Yeah, but you don't work behind the camera, so she doesn't actually know what they're trying to do. You're just being entertained, but you don't understand what's going
我
in
觉
here.
得可能不大好吧，但是我觉得从我中国人的角度说，我是可能说这个的问题是没想到，就别的人的想法。
你们周围有什么黑人朋友或者黑人同学啊这种之类的吗？
我们上大学的时候，感觉对他们的印象就是很香很香，整层就是上课的时候可能会觉得，只要他们有在教室，整层楼都是香的。
打篮球的时
Is
候，
that a bad
有些
thing?
黑人
I don't think that's a bad thing.
很友好。其实黑人朋友总体来说，因为我住的小区里面也有黑人朋友，整体来说是比较友好的。对。
那他们的形象和春晚出现的一些形象一样吗？
不一样，生活中真的其实很少见那样的。
对的。
虽然小区里有黑人，然后他那个夸张了一些。
你是哪里人呢？
我是河北人。
你是河北人，那你曾经接触到一些黑人是什么样子的形象呢？亲身经历。
比较负面的一些形象。可以说吗？
可以说，没关系。
就是比较爱占小便宜。
负面的话呢，就比较可能是贫穷。
This is all surrounding this spring gala festival that they have that's apparently as big to them as the Super Bowl. They don't take in what's being sent to you because you're just watching, you're just being entertained, and everybody wants to laugh. Like, who the hell doesn't want to laugh? I want to laugh. They had the Chinese woman, these features to make her look bigger than she actually is. Well, we do have a lot of black women that are like that, but it's like, you know, whatever. There was another black lady on the scene, on stage with them, but you decided to dress up a Chinese woman to look stereotypical and then put blackface on her beside an actual black woman who could have just played that role.
那你觉得很多时候中国人得到的这些负面的这种印象是从何而来的呢？
是因为一种个别的案例会影响到整个国内的，会影响它的影响。
一方面是可能是经济水平决定的，再一个的话可能跟就是我们从小到大接触到的这些媒体的宣传也有一定的关系。可能如果主流的就是官方宣传上都是介绍到他们一些就是被歧视的一方或者是不平等的东西，我们大多接受到的这些会影响我们的判断。
就是主要通过美剧啊、美国的电影啊，或者他们的描述关于美国的，就是这个黑人的那些种族歧视的问题。
那对于中国的一些媒体上有没有一些类似的一些影响呢？
我觉得比较少，可能都是描述别人是怎么种族歧视别人。
对，基本上黑人角色设定会把他们设定成一些小偷啊，会设定一些罪犯，生活在底层的一些就说是垃圾之类的这种
你觉得在未来有没有可能啊，我们中国对于一些非洲人的一些负面的一些形象啊、固有形象会更多的消失呢？
那是肯定的，因为不了解而产生的问题都会随着交流而。
这样的耗时，我觉得差不多还得需要30-50年，或者这样的耗时，我觉得差不多还得需要30-50年。
I can't appreciate though how educated some of these responses are. Like,
融合还是非常慢的。因为从
it doesn't sound like they're coming from a place of hate. It just sounds like they just don't understand. And when you don't understand somebody, you want to be curious about them. But if all the knowledge you get is from what you see on TV, then you're just going to misunderstand them.
要有这个机会组织一个桥梁，就是当你了解对方越多的时候， 那你的心态就会发生改变，对它的认识才更全面。就是因为我们年轻一代就接触新事物、接受新事物的能力会比较强，所以对于这种新鲜的这些外来的文化，还是以一种比较客观的眼光在对待。
Yeah, that guy just restored my faith. It's hard to hear like a lot of Chinese people speak like this, not judge them back, right? But that guy just like, there's good and bad people, man.
And I was motivated to come here because I actually studied Chinese in university.
What do you make of the recent incident of blackface on the CCTV Lunar New Year's show?
So, I was actually watching that show. At first, when I first saw it, I thought it was an African woman who had a fake butt and stuff, which I thought was weird, but I was like, well, it's China. And that's a lot of people's responses when they see stuff like this, oh, it's China. And then when I kind of looked at it, I was like, wait, but there's so many Africans in China.
Why'd they get a Chinese woman to play that role?
I didn't
Exactly.
understand why. It's like I almost want like someone to explain why it happened. Like even if they couldn't find an elderly African woman who spoke
Exactly.
Chinese, they could have
Exactly.
made up a black person to look old. Like they had so many options. This is from a Black American perspective. It's not from African perspective. I don't know what Africans think about that skit. They might be angry, they might not, because the thing is, blackface is historically in the U.S. has negative origins because basically white people would paint their face black. It was very obvious that they were in black.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. The Chinese on stage actually tried to make her look themselves like an African. In the States, it's actually like, no, that's not what they were trying to do. They were just trying to outright discriminate against you.
They wouldn't try to make themselves actually look like an African American. And they would do stereotypical things, kind of degrading. It was just a way to dehumanize black people, make them more like a character, a cartoon, as opposed to a human being.
Have you encountered like examples of like racism or so on in China or prejudices?
I like to call it colorism in terms of what I've experienced personally myself, which is...
I'm so happy she's giving her perspective right now.
People giving me compliments and saying, oh, you're
because she's
black,
actually teaching in China, so it's like...
they'll make fun of somebody else and go, oh, but he's so dark. And then I'll say, well, what's wrong with that? And I feel part of it is lack of exposure to different types of black people.
What about any of your friends, for example?
They'll see much more racism than I do, where sometimes I think it doesn't exist, and then sometimes I do see where they might.
So it is like that in China, then?
Or it might be true. I applied for one job where they do recruiting, and they told me sometimes we get schools who only want white people. They said, are you comfortable with that? I said yes at the time, honestly, but I wasn't comfortable, but I just didn't want to make it awkward. Now they have something called Obama Black, which is,
What's that?
it's basically as long as you're the color of Obama, they'll consider that okay. If you're darker than Obama, it's not okay, because at least at this point, because Obama's the president of the United States, people will, they can accept people that
How is this
color as being
happening?
American.
How are people of
But
color
not if you're darker
looking
than that.
down on other people of color? Like
The perception changed a little bit with Obama, but it didn't make things like go away, basically. But you will see ads that say white only, and I saw one ad that I joked with my friend about.
The
that
Chinese
was like,
people
"Do you
aren't
have white
white."
skin? You can come work.
How do you have ads in China, white only, but you're not white?
And you get 16,000 RMB a month to do that, as long as you're white.
So how do you process these experiences compared to racism or prejudices in your home country, for example?
This is mind-blowing. It's absolutely
Yeah, it's much
mind-blowing.
different. Actually, a lot of black people you'll talk to say they prefer the racism in China over back in the States. And that's just because some people perceive the racism here, or the prejudice here, I don't really like to call it racism, but I don't want to get into that. They perceive it to be differently because here they see it more as ignorance, whereas in the States it's more like hate. Like people actually hate you and like want to kill you or threaten you violently. But in China it's more like, it's just different. It doesn't seem like they hate you. Like especially when I speak Chinese, I can go almost anywhere.
Stop right there. Stop right there. Okay, so she's basically saying right now that as a black woman in China, it's easier for her because she speaks Chinese. But if me and her were walking down the street together and we both didn't speak Chinese, the discrimination level would be high. To be coming from people that came up to you and talked to you, felt some type of way about you, and then said something to you, it looks like she's talking about people will just outright discriminate against you because you're walking down the street. In the wintertime, I am pretty much this woman's complexion. So what, if I went to China, I'm gonna have a hard time in China? If I ask you for a direction on how to get here or how to get there, you mean to tell me that you're also a person of color? You're not white? When I look at a white guy, I see a white guy. When I look at an Asian, I see an Asian. When I look at a subcontinent Indian guy, I see an Indian. When I look at a black person, I see a black person. Why do you have ads in China that say whites only when you're not white? Let's get back to this.
And talk to people, at least in the places I've been so far, and people will kind of accept me, I guess. I don't know how else to explain that, but they won't be like, oh, get out of my store. They won't follow me around in the store and see if I'm trying to steal something.
The Obama black.
I don't know, be rude to me. Now, that's not the case for all black people. Again, I'm the Obama black, I guess, that Chinese people are more comfortable with. If you kind of accept their culture and their language and kind of, not necessarily integrate, but like accept it and see them as people.
I didn't understand that last part. It sounded like she was trying to say something but didn't fully say it.
Respect. Chinese people I've talked to have been very receptive. They're very likely to engage in dialogue and to talk about it, and they'll usually say, oh, I never thought of that, and you really changed the way I see things. So open dialogue, changing stereotypes in TVs and movies is, in particular, I'm going to keep saying that only because every time Chinese people will talk to me about Americans or whatever people, they'll say, oh, I saw it on TV, or I saw it on this show. So all of that. And I think maybe if, just more black, there's a lot of Africans now in China who are here to study, and they know Chinese. So also the more they interact with black people who speak Chinese, I think that will also help as well.
Okay. So here's the deal. I'm not going to say it makes me angry, because for some reason I'm not really surprised. I'm not all too shocked. Kind of. Because it's just weird where you can equally be a person of color, then look at another person of color and be like, because you're of a darker color, I'm going to act as though I'm not of a color and then feel some type of way about you. Like the Chinese people associated darker skin with you having been worked in the fields and were farmers. They were considered people of lower class because they had darker skin. They still think today that darker skin is associated with some economic class, some poverty class, some lower class. They remove the fact that they're a person of color and then isolate you as a darker person of color and then discriminate against you. When you hear them speak, they talk about the black people that they've seen are the ones that are on TV. They've had some media exposure to black people, painted black people in that way to them. Not that they've had interactions with the black people that are on the streets with them that they're discriminating against. I had a terrible experience at a young age with a Chinese boy when I was in like the 4th grade. And we were in the office. I was in trouble. But he was in trouble too. He was in the office too. He was in there too. And out of nowhere, in this squeaky little voice, I didn't say anything to him. We're both in trouble. Like, for separate reasons. He's there. He's not getting picked up. He's in trouble. I know that because of the way the secretary was talking to him. I hear him say to me, "You're black. You're a worm. You're a maggot. Your skin is dirty." What? The hell? I wish I had the mentality at that age to let this kid know. What, you think because you're not as dark as me, you're not dark to somebody else? Somebody lighter than you, there's always going to be somebody darker than you. But what, you think you're like what? What do you think you are? Who do you think you are? But that was my first experience. So when I was getting ready to watch this video, and don't forget to shout out these guys' page. I'm shouting out these guys' page. It's called Asian Boss. Check them out, Asian Boss, dope channel. And I could tell that this kid had definitely been taught that from like his parents. Because he's too young to know what the hell he's saying. He doesn't understand me. He doesn't even know me. And he's had no experience with adult black people. If his parents are from China, see why the kid knew what he felt he had the right to say to me. There, and at the beginning, you even hear one of the women say, I feel as though, matter of fact, I'll just replay the video for you.
其实我觉得看了还只有可爱可亲了，他们太敏感，我觉得还是蛮可爱。
This Gala Festival is the equivalent of the Super Bowl in China. A Chinese man in the centerfold. A Chinese woman in traditional African garments in blackface. The left side of him is an actual black woman. Black woman, Chinese man, Chinese woman in blackface. Huh? And then somebody casted this Chinese woman and said, we're not good. And I've seen this. I've seen Chinese cinema and their craftsmanship, their stage performance, and their artists. They are more than capable of dressing, even if they wanted to, it would still be stereotypical, but even if they wanted to take this black woman, who is a black woman, and make her backside bigger, her chest area larger, and dress her in traditional African garments. In my eyes, that would still be far more acceptable than you having her stand on stage to a Chinese woman dressed in blackface. And to the people in the audience, day off, having fun, reminding you guys this is the equivalent of the Super Bowl to them. They don't care. Because they don't want to have to care. Not on that day. And I understand that. Let's work together to build a better future where people aren't being informed about other people that are equally on the same sidewalk as them through the lens of a camera. Well, let me not say that because I'm on camera. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, comment, and like. Give me the energy I need. Give me the fuel for this tank to keep on going, to keep on posting, to keep on staying in front of the lens, to give you guys the content that I know you guys rightfully deserve. Don't forget to check out my other channel, Afro Sushi, and all that other good stuff that is totally different from the feeling and this video. Thank you guys for watching again. Stay tuned. Love y'all.
I just ran 100 yard dash. You spend too much cash. Screw your bags.